You ever have one of those days where you're just trying to mind your own business and you suddenly get promoted to unpaid, unwilling manager of a department store? Yeah, that was my Tuesday. So for some context, my best friend is getting married and I was tasked with finding a spectacular outfit. The pressure was on. I'm talking full-on mission mode, darting through the aisles of this huge department store, arms loaded with a precarious mountain of dresses, jackets, and shawls. I probably looked like a frantic fabric mule. To make matters worse, I was wearing a simple navy blue dress and a cute little custom name tag that just says Aubrey, a gift from a friend. In hindsight, a terrible, terrible choice of attire. I was trying to compare a sequin jacket to a silk shawl when I felt a sharp, insistent tap on my shoulder. I turned around to face an older woman, probably in her late 70s, with a tightly permed cloud of white hair and eyes that could curdle milk. "You," she said, not asked. "I need this in a size 10, and don't tell me you don't have it. Go check in the back." She thrust a dress at my chest, nearly toppling my carefully balanced clothing hoard. I did that awkward little laugh. "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I don't actually work here. I'm just shopping for a wedding myself." Her perfectly lipsticked mouth tightened into a thin line. She pointed a bony finger at my chest. "Don't you lie to me. It says Aubrey right there on your tag. Are you lazy? Is that it? The service in this store is just appalling." My jaw dropped. "Ma'am, this is just a personal name tag. I really can't help you." I tried to turn away, but she was having none of it. "Unbelievable," she announced to the entire formal wear section. "This employee is refusing to do her job. She's just wandering around with a pile of clothes, ignoring customers." By now, a few people were starting to stare. My face was burning. I felt like a cornered animal. I was trying to juggle my pile of clothes, which was threatening to spill all over the floor, while this woman was basically accusing me of being the world's worst retail worker. I was seconds away from just dropping everything and running out of the store. "Ma'am, please," I pleaded, my voice getting a little shaky. "I'm just trying to find an outfit for my friend's wedding." And that's when the switch flipped. The word wedding seemed to shatter her entire angry facade. Her face just crumpled. "A wedding," she whispered, her voice cracking. All the fire was gone, replaced by this overwhelming wave of sadness. "My granddaughter, she's getting married. It might be the last wedding I ever get to go to." She looked down at the dress in her hands, and a tear rolled down her cheek and splashed onto the fabric. "My husband, he always helped me pick out my dresses for weddings. He passed 2 years ago. I don't know what I'm doing, and I just want to look beautiful for her." I was floored. She went from a fire-breathing dragon to a lost little grandmother in the span of about 10 seconds. All that rage wasn't really about me or the dress. It was about grief and fear and loneliness. My own stress about finding the perfect outfit felt so stupid and small in that moment. I gently took the dress from her hand. "Okay," I said softly, "let's find you the perfect dress. Forget about what I'm doing. Right now, we're on a mission for you." We spent the next hour together. I held up dresses for her, we talked about her late husband, and she told me stories about all the weddings they'd danced at together. She even convinced me to try on a beautiful blue sari that I never would have picked for myself, and honestly, it looked amazing. She had a fantastic eye. In the end, she found a gorgeous emerald green gown that made her eyes sparkle. As we walked to the checkout, she held my arm and squeezed it. "Thank you, Aubrey," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You've been more help than any real employee." It wasn't the shopping trip I planned, but it was the one I needed. I realized that sometimes the most entitled people are just the ones who are hurting the most. So next time you meet a Karen in the wild, maybe, just maybe, there's a story there you don't know.
If you're still watching, you're clearly into this stuff. Go ahead and subscribe. I've got more stories just like these. Now, on to the last one.
Some days my job as a resort's director of security involves coordinating with the Secret Service for a visiting dignitary or running active shooter drills. Other days, it starts with the fatal mistake of wearing a red shirt and khakis to Target. I was on a mission for work power strips, the lifeblood of any modern office, and I was in a hurry. I found my quarry, piled them into my cart, and was making a beeline for the checkout when I heard a sharp, impatient snap of fingers right behind my ear. Excuse me, I need you to get something down from the top shelf for me, now." I turned. The voice belonged to a woman with tightly permed hair and a face that seemed permanently pinched in a state of mild dissatisfaction. I gave her a polite, if slightly confused, smile. "Oh, sorry ma'am, I don't work here." Her eyes narrowed, scanning my red polo shirt and khaki pants. "Don't lie to me," she sniffed. "You're wearing the uniform. I need the large box of diapers in aisle 7. "Ma'am, these are just my clothes," I said, trying to maneuver my cart around her. "I really don't work here." "The service in this store is just abysmal," she declared to the ceiling before huffing off down the aisle, muttering about lazy employees. I just shook my head, paid for my power strips at the self-checkout, and headed for the exit, glad to be done with it. I was wrong, it wasn't done. As I was walking through the parking lot, a thick-necked man who looked like he'd argue with a fence post and wind stepped directly into my path. He had sunglasses perched on his head despite the overcast sky, and he was pointing a sausage-like finger at me. "You," he grunted, "you think you can be rude to my wife and just walk away." I glanced past him and saw the same woman from the diaper aisle standing by a large, white SUV, arms crossed, watching with a smug look on her face. It clicked. "Sir, there's been a misunderstanding," I said, keeping my voice calm and even. "Years in security teach you to de-escalate. Your wife thought I was an employee. I'm not." He took a step closer, poking me in the chest with that finger. "She said you were disrespectful. You're gonna go back in there and apologize to her." My professional calm evaporated. "First," I said, looking down at his finger and then back up at his eyes, "you're going to get your finger out of my chest. Second, I'm not apologizing for anything." He smirked, a nasty, knowing little expression. He lowered his hand but didn't move. "We'll see about that, buddy." He walked back to his SUV and I got in my car, my heart pounding a little faster than I'd like. This felt off. I pulled out of my parking spot and checked my rearview mirror. Sure enough, the white SUV pulled out right behind me. I made a right turn. So did they. I took an unnecessary left into a subdivision. They were still there. Okay, this was officially crossing a line. I picked up my phone. First, I called the police dispatcher. "I'm on my way to work and I have a vehicle that's been aggressively following me since I left the Target on Main Street." I gave them the description and plate number. Second, I called my work. "Carlos, it's Ethan. I've got a tail, a white SUV. They're following me to the resort. Under no circumstances are you to let them on the property. Call me the second they show up at the gate." I drove the rest of the way to work, the SUV glued to my bumper. I swiped my card at the employee gate. It swung open and I drove through, watching in my mirror as it closed securely behind me. The white SUV stopped just outside, its driver no doubt fuming. I parked and went straight to my office, but I'd barely had time to set the power strips on my desk before my radio crackled. "Ethan, you'd better get down to the main gate. We've got a situation." When I pulled up in my security golf cart, it was pure chaos. The couple had driven around to the main guest entrance and were now blocking the entire lane. The husband was screaming at Carlos, my guard, his face betrayed. The wife was filming the whole thing with her phone, providing a running commentary. "And this so-called security is protecting an employee who harassed me," she shrieked. "We're diamond-level members, I'll have your job." I got out of the cart, my full uniform, complete with my director of security name badge and radio on my hip, now clearly visible. I walked toward them. "Is there a problem here?" They both spun around, the husband's jaw dropped. The wife slowly lowered her phone. The gears were turning in their heads, trying to connect the lazy Target employee with the man in charge of the entire resort's security. The power dynamic shifted so fast it practically gave me whiplash. Just then, 2 police cars rolled up, lights flashing. An officer got out and listened to their sputtering, indignant story. Then he listened to my calm, factual one and to Carlos's statement about them blocking the entrance and screaming at him. The couple, seeing their story crumble, finally admitted they followed me from the store. The officer turned to me. He put his hands on you. They followed you. That's assault and harassment. You want to press charges. I looked at the deflated couple. I didn't want a court case. I just wanted them gone. No, officer, I said. I just want them trespassed from the property permanently. The police issued the official warning. If they ever set foot on resort grounds again, they'd be arrested. Defeated, they got back in their SUV and drove away. As I was thanking the officers, Carlos came over, shaking his head with a little laugh. "What's so funny?" I asked. "The lady," he said, trying to stifle a grin. As she was getting in her car, she muttered to her husband, but I heard her. "Yeah, what'd she say?" Carlos looked at me, his eyes twinkling. She said, "I knew he worked here."
Ever been mistaken for an employee so badly that the person ends up trying to take you home with them? No? Well, buckle up, because my quest for a lost car key and a Coke Zero turned into exactly that. So picture this. It's barely 7 a.m., a time of day I firmly believe should be illegal. My phone rings, and it's my brother, his voice laced with that special kind of panic that only comes from realizing you're about to be super late for work. He's lost his car key. Can't find it anywhere. I'm the family's designated fixer, so groaning, I drag myself out of bed. The mission: drive to my parents' house, grab the spare key for his car, which is currently abandoned in a 7-Eleven parking lot, and save the day. Simple, right? I get to my parents' place, and my dad, an early bird who thrives on chaos, is already up and ready for an adventure. We hop in his car and head to the 7-Eleven. As we pull up, he hands me his credit card. "Get yourself something," he says. "You look dead." He wasn't wrong. All I wanted was the sweet, caffeinated embrace of a Coke Zero. I walk into the store, my brain still booting up, and that's when I first see him. He was a guy leaning against the lottery ticket machine, looking off. You know the look. Greasy hair, a t-shirt with a questionable stain, and eyes that were darting around like he was looking for an angle. My internal weirdo detector gave a little ping, but I ignored it. I was on a mission for caffeine, not social interaction. I head for the coolers at the back, grab my precious Coke Zero, and as I turn around, he's suddenly right there, way too close to my personal bubble. "Hey, you the manager," he grunts, not so much asking as demanding. I'm wearing pajama pants and a hoodie that says I'd rather be sleeping. I look about as managerial as a stray cat. No, sorry, I don't work here. I try to sidestep him. He doesn't move. "Right, don't work here. Listen, I need you to do something for me. I spilled something in my truck, and I need you to help me clean out my passenger seat." My brain just blue-screened for a second. "You want me to clean your truck?" "Yeah," he says, like it's the most normal request in the world. "It's a mess. Come on." "No," I said, my voice coming out a little sharper than I intended. "I can't help you with that. I'm just a customer." I hold up my soda as Exhibit A. His face curdled into this look of sour disbelief, as if I'd just insulted his mother. He let me pass, but as I walked towards the checkout, I could feel his eyes on my back. Then I heard his footsteps behind me. He caught up to me in the chip aisle. "So how old are you anyway?" he asks, his voice low and weirdly intimate. "You look young, real pretty." Okay, red alert. Full-blown, sirens wailing red alert. My skin started to crawl. "I'm leaving," I said, picking up my pace. Wait, he says, getting in front of me again, blocking my path to the cashier. "Look, just come home with me. It'll be fun." And then he reached for my hand. Something snapped. I yanked my arm back so hard I nearly sloshed my drink everywhere. "Don't touch me," I practically shouted. I shoved past him and got to the counter, slamming my Coke Zero down. The poor cashier, a teenager who looked as tired as I felt, just blinked at me. The guy followed me, of course. He got right behind me in line, muttering under his breath. As the cashier rang me up, the guy exploded. "Where's your manager?" he bellowed, pointing a grubby finger at me. "This employee is being incredibly rude and refusing to help a customer." The cashier stared at him, then at my pajama pants, then back at him. "Sir, she doesn't work here." Liar, he screamed. You're all covering for her. I want her name and badge number. I'm reporting her for her terrible attitude. I just paid for my drink, grabbed it, and bolted out the door without a word. I jumped into my dad's car, heart hammering against my ribs. Drive, I gasped. Just go. Dad, bless him, didn't ask questions. He just pulled out of the parking lot. As we did, we passed a beat-up old Ford truck, and there was the guy, standing beside it, glaring at us as we drove away. I told my dad the whole story on the way home. His cheerful adventure mode evaporated, replaced by a quiet, simmering anger. He actually wanted to turn around and go back, but I told him it wasn't worth it. So yeah, my brother got his key, I got my Coke Zero, and some entitled creep out there is probably still convinced that a random girl in pajamas is the rudest 7-Eleven manager he's ever had the displeasure of trying to abduct.
Got time for one more. This next video is worth it.